I wonder where you do your best thinking. For me, this is probably one of those places. One of those places I can sit for a little while, where it's quiet until someone comes knocking on the door because they need the toilet. And I can just sit and I can think. I think about all sorts of things. And I know there are other people, I've spoken to them recently, who come to the toilet and spend time talking to God. It's a space. It's something we have to do, isn't it? Let's be honest. But it can be a good space for us to think and to talk to God and try and work out what it's all about. Sometimes when I think, I come up with difficult questions. And one of those questions is, what is God like? What's he like? Well, I thought today, to try and help answer that question, I'd read a book whilst sitting in my thinking space. So this book is called What is God Like? And it was written by a lady called Rachel Held Evans. Should we have a look? Should we see what she says? What is God like? That's a very big question. One that people from places all around the world have wondered about since the beginning of time. And while nobody has seen all of God, because God is far too big for any of us to fully see, we can know what God is like. God is like an eagle, sharp-eyed and swift, with wings so wide you can play under their shadows. God is like a river, constant and life-giving. When you grow near God, you'll spurt up as strong as a tree. God is like a shepherd, brave and good, a protector who loves her sheep so much that she watches over all of them and knows each their names by heart. God is like the stars, forever present and bright. Even when they feel far away, you can always look up and see them winking at you. God is like a fort, strong and secure, with walls that are mighty and safe. Inside, there are hidden places to hold you when you're scared or need a quiet place to rest. God is like a gardener, patient and nurturing. God plants and waters and weeds and fertilizes the earth until every good thing on it seeks the nourishing sun and grows. God is like the flame of a candle, warm and inviting. With God close by, you can look to the light and see through the darkest of nights. God is like the wind, passionate and full of mystery. God is both here and, mysteriously, over there as well. God is everywhere, swirling throughout the world, whistling across mountain ranges, rustling through trees and pressing against your cheeks on a breezy day. God is like an artist, creative and unpredictable, always busy making and remaking everything brilliant and new. God is like a mother, strong and safe, You can crawl up into her lap whenever you want to, and she will hold you until you fall asleep. God is like a father, gentle and safe. He will put you on top of his shoulders to give you a bird's eye view of all of creation. God is like three dancers, graceful and precise. They move to the same music in very different ways, showcasing all of God's elegance and rhythm in your life. God is like a rainbow, vivid and full of colour, a dazzling reminder of promise and hope for all people after a storm. God is like a best friend, faithful and true, closer to you than even your brothers or sisters. And because we know what God is like, we know that God is kind, God is forgiving, God is slow to get angry, God is quick to be glad, God is happy when you tell the truth and sad when things are unfair. She is your protector. He is trustworthy. They're friends when you feel alone. God hopes. God perseveres. So, what is God like? It's a very big question, one that people from places all around the world throughout all time have answered in many different ways. Keep searching, keep wondering, keep learning about God. But whenever you aren't sure what God is like, think about what makes you feel safe, what makes you feel brave, and what makes you feel loved. That's what God is like. I wonder, which one of those pictures jumped out at you? As you heard what I said, which one sounded most like the God that you know? Do you ever have times where you wish God was like a fort and there was a safe place? The Bible says that's who God is. It says God's a refuge, somewhere safe, and he can be our strength. Have you ever thought maybe God could be like a mum, looking after us? Well, again, the Bible says God's like a mother hen, looking after her chicks. Have you ever wondered what God's like? I wonder what you would say. I'm going to read that last page again, but I'm going to say it like a prayer. What is God like? That's a very big question. One that people from places all around the world, just like you and me right now, have answered in many different ways. God, would you help us to keep searching for you? God, would you help us to keep wondering what you're like? God, would you help us to keep learning about you? And God, when we aren't sure what you're like, help us to think about what makes us feel safe, what makes us feel brave, and what makes us feel loved. And help us to know that that's what you're like. Amen.
my wrestling and in my doubts, in my failures, you won't walk out. Your great love will lead me through. You are the peace in my troubled sea. Whoa, you are the peace in my troubled sea. In the silence, you won't let go. In the questions, your truth will hold. Your great love will lead me through. You are the peace in my troubled sea. Whoa, you are the peace in my troubled sea. My lighthouse, shining in the darkness, I will follow you. Oh, my lighthouse, I will trust the promise. You will carry me safe to shore. Tomorrow brings. With each morning I'll rise and sing. My God's love will lead me through. You are the peace in my troubled sea. Oh, you are the peace in my troubled sea. My lighthouse, shining in the darkness, you're the brightest. You will lead us through the storms. Far before us, you're the brightest. You will lead us through